Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ireland, where of course it never stops raining. And that's one of the reasons why we have what is a very wet Volvo XC40 Recharge, which of course is Volvo's new EV entrant. Is it any good? Well, let's find out.
We don't do stress at the AA, we do car insurance. Relax, Yellow and Black have got your back.
Before we go any further, please do like this video, do subscribe to the AA Ireland YouTube channel, and of course, hit that bell icon to make sure that you get notified of any of our new videos. Okay, so I might be a little bit biased for this video because I really do love a Volvo. I haven't quite got around to buying that 240 estate yet, but watch this base. I really do intend to change that. Over the years, they have become much curvier than before. Obviously, they were known for being big bricks, but they are very different these days. And of course, the powertrains are very different. And this XC40 has changed a lot as well. This car has been around since 2017, but this version now does away with diesel, does away with standard petrol. So you can only have it as either a plug-in hybrid petrol or as a full EV. And this is the XC40 Recharge, which of course is the full EV. So you have two options with this. You have an option of a single motor, or you have an option of a twin motor. So obviously a single motor is just powering the front wheels, whereas the twin version, which is this one here, is all-wheel drive. So you got a four-wheel drive system. If you go for the single motor version, it's going to put out 231 horsepower. This one, however, with twin motors, is putting out 408 horsepower, which is a huge amount of power. What do you think about the styling of this XC40 Recharge? Do let us know in the comments below. At the front, you've obviously got the closed off grille, which shows that it's electric. It also says pure electric on the front. Not sure why they did that, however. This car's sitting on 20-inch alloy wheels, which are lovely to look at, but do upset the ride a little bit. Not overly so, but I did notice that on some bumps and road undulations, it does seem to crash a little bit. But otherwise, the design is very handsome. There's a nice dramatic side scoop, and this black roof makes it look almost like it's floating. So what is the cabin like? Well, firstly, the quality is really excellent. All of the materials used feel really high quality. This one is the top spec model, so you do have the Harman Kardon system in here. You also have a panoramic roof, but the quality and fit and finish is just really first class. You have your heated leather steering wheel. It feels really nice and chunky. And over here, of course, you have an infotainment system, which is a Google system. So it's slightly different than you'll see in some other brands. It has Google Maps built in, Google Play Store, and of course, Google Assistant, which allows you to use voice commands. Also, Spotify is built in. At the moment, there's no Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, but that is coming in a software update. The ventilation system as well also lives in here. And there is also a range assistant, which gives you a good idea of how much range you have left, depending on your driving style. But overall, it is a nice system. And of course, there is a wireless charging pad here for your phone, USB-C ports, and some of the physical buttons here operate obviously hazard warning lights, demister, and there is a physical button for the volume switch here. The cabin is very simple, it's very nicely laid out, and overall the fit and finish feels like a high-end Scandinavian piece of furniture. In terms of size, the XC40 is of course the smallest SUV that Volvo have. That puts it about the same size as, say, an Audi Q3. It's not small, however. It's a compact 5-seater. There's certainly room in the back for 3 generously sized kids or smaller adults. In terms of boot space is 419 litres, which isn't of course class leading, but is pretty much okay. It's pretty much on par with something like you'd find in, say, a Volkswagen Golf or Ford Focus. How is the XC40 to drive? Well, the first thing that you really notice about this car is just how fast it is. I mean, it's not quite Tesla fast, but it's certainly not far off. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour takes under 5 seconds, 4.9 seconds. And, you know, it really launches itself off the line, which is a little bit at odds with the type of vehicle that it is, because it is a Volvo SUV. It's a family car. It isn't necessarily something that you would associate with going breakneck fast, but it is, you know, short of a Tesla Model 3, I haven't felt this kind of acceleration in a car in a long time. I mean, just dart your foot down and it just takes off. Now, what does that do to the range? Well, look, range overall is pretty impressive. You know, range is very subjective. It depends how much you need. The WLTP figure on this car is 416 kilometers. Will it do that Well, probably not in real world terms, but what will it do? Certainly at the moment, it's winter, or certainly coming into spring here in Ireland, the weather's still quite cold. You're going to be getting about 300 kilometers from a full charge in this twin motor version, because it is fast. You're going to put the foot down a little bit, to accelerate, and that is going to affect the range. I'm getting about 26 kilowatts per 100 kilometers from this at the moment, so that adds up to about, give or take, 300 kilometers from a full charge. And that's okay for me anyway. That's okay. I did a drive the other day from Drogheda to Cork and back in one day. I stopped off at theAA.ie for half an hour, 40 minutes each direction, and it was fine. Charging is pretty fast in this. It's certainly as fast as the theAA.ie chargers will put out. I've had one theAA.ie charger putting out 80 kilowatts and another putting out 150 kilowatts, so it depends on the charger at the time, but that's what you can expect certainly from this car in terms of range, about 300 kilometers, and that for me anyway is fine. Overall, this is it's a funny one to consider because it is expensive. We know that in this one here is 68 grand, and you could be getting a Tesla Model 3 performance for that sort of money. But for me anyway, this is one of my favorite EVs personally. I probably wouldn't buy this version because I don't think you need that much power. I think this is more of a cruiser, so the single motor version would be fine. It's not a huge car, so it's not something that's going to necessarily compete with something like a Skoda Enyaq, which would certainly feels bigger, or Volkswagen ID4. But what this is a really nice and refined SUV, and it's certainly up there as one of my favorite electric SUVs for sure. The XC40 Recharge starts at €57,000, and for that you're getting the entry-level core version with a single motor. This, however, is the twin motor version, and this is the top spec model, so you're getting this for €68,000. So that is quite an expensive vehicle, almost €70,000 for what is not a massive car. However, this is a very performance orientated version. It is, of course, more like a rival to the Tesla Model 3 Performance, which you can get for similar money, about €65,000. Would I buy the twin motor version? Probably not. It is lovely, it's quick, but it's probably a little bit overkill in this vehicle, which is more suited to cruising really. I think I'd probably save the money and save €7,000 as it happens by getting the single motor version, which certainly has enough power with 230 horsepower. Overall, this is a lovely car. However, the quality is nice, it drives really nicely. I do like it. It's possibly one of the best EVs on the market at the moment, but I would certainly go for that single motor version because I think at that price it's a little bit more of a sensible buy and a little bit more of a viable option.